The year 2020 is sure to go down in history as a challenging time. But for one couple, it was the year that changed their lives for the better. Michele and Paola were single residents of the same apartment building in Verona, Italy. While quarantining on their balconies, Michele spotted Paola, and it was love at first sight. Keep watching to see how the romantic won over Juliet and what their happy ending looks like now. Hello, story lovers. I'm Scott Leffler, and here is Italian couple's quarantine love story has everyone calling them Romeo and Juliet. Before we move on, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and activate the notifications bell for new amazing videos. This is the apartment building where Michele and Paola both fatefully resided. It's suitably located in Vienna, Italy, the setting of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. Though they both had lived there most of their lives, they never crossed paths. With the coronavirus in full effect, residents around the world started sharing music and singing out of their balconies. Michele and Paola's community did the same, and one evening the modern Romeo spotted his future Juliet. Some couples claimed that they heard music when they first met. As though in a movie, this was the actual case for Paola and Michele. Paola's sister decided to put on a nightly 6 p.m. performance to lift the apartment community's spirits. It was her rendition of the song "We Are the Champions" that caught Michelle's attention. As he watched the talented performer, he found himself locking eyes with her lovely sister, Paola. Without even having to talk, the chemistry was apparent. Michele was on the 7th floor and Paola was on the 6th. They were in separate buildings so that they faced one another, but were still 40 meters apart. Even so, they were instantly attracted to one another. Paola told the Washington Post that it was a magical moment, explaining, "I immediately thought, what a beautiful boy." Likewise, Michele told the publication, "I was immediately struck by the beauty of the girl, by her smile. I had to know her." Coming up, see how Michele managed to get in touch with Paola without going to her door. Michele and Paola had their magical moment in March, at which point Italy's coronavirus numbers were sky high and rampant in every part of the country. Their biggest spike in cases came on March 21st, with 6,557 reported in just that one day. With the country on lockdown, it was going to be just about impossible for Michele to meet the woman of his dreams. Still, he at least wanted the chance to get to know her. Lucky for Michele, he'd recognized Paola's sister Lisa, the one who'd been playing the violin. Before quarantine, the two had met at the gym they both go to. He was able to reach out to her to inquire about Paola. Lisa gave Michele her sister's name, and with that, he was able to find her on social media. He discovered Paola's Instagram, but didn't have an account. Michele was so determined that he made an Instagram right then and there just to message her. Michele and Paola must have had a sixth sense when they locked eyes on the balcony, because as soon as they started talking, the love was apparent. Their conversations were so stimulating that they would sometimes stay up until 3 in the morning talking. Since Paola lives with her sister, the lovebirds would sometimes ask Lisa to play something for them. The romance was in the air, but they'd still yet to meet in person. Though Paola and Michele's connection was instant, the 40-year-old didn't want to get ahead of herself. As anyone with dating experience knows, the initial excitement isn't always lasting. She said in an interview, "When he contacted me, I was happy, but I didn't want to deceive myself. After all, they barely know one another." However, the distance led to long and meaningful conversations. Paola soon realized that they've shared values you could build a relationship on. Next, see what grand act Michele did to prove his love for Paola. Since the couple couldn't be in close proximity, it became challenging to express how much they were starting to fall for one another. As though Michele could sense Paola protecting her emotions, he started to do what he could to convey how serious he was about her. He started by sending her flowers, but that didn't seem personal enough. That's when he came up with the idea to write her name on a sheet and hang it at the top of his building for all to see. As sweet as Michele's gestures were, there was one thing that stood out above the rest when it came to Paola discovering he was the one. The more she got to know him, the more he started reminding her of her grandfather. Yet another miraculous twist of fate is that Paola's grandfather is named Michele. Though her grandfather has since passed, he recognizes his goodness of mind and principles in Michele. After 2.5 months of dating at a distance, Italy relaxed its social distancing rules, to the extent that Michele and Paola could meet in person. Even though they knew one another well, they were still nervous. On the plus side, Paola's sister and their balcony interactions at least alleviated the worry of being catfished. They knew that they weren't lying about who they actually are, but there's still something to be said about in-person chemistry versus virtual chemistry. Next, we'll see how their first in-person meeting went. Michele and Paola had yet another magical moment when they met in a garden near their homes for the first time. Paola said, "We were both nervous, but it went really well. He was just like I imagined he would be." She added that it was an event that they'll never forget and the start of their daily lives together. The pair's been inseparable since, and many who hear their story find them to be a bright spot in a gloomy year. On one of their dates, Michele again put Paola's name in a public space to profess his love shamelessly. This time, instead of a sheet, he wrote her name with chalk on the ground and put a big heart above. Paola loved it so much that she took a selfie with the artwork and posted it to her Instagram page. Her more than 2,000 followers love staying up to date with her and Michele's relationship, especially now that it's blossomed in person. Paola proved that the feeling is mutual when he wrote Michele's nickname, Mickey, in massive letters with chalk. She drew a heart as well on this name placed under his name. The artwork covers a large walkway so passersby can't miss it. Since their story has become the talk of the town, we're sure neighbors must love to see signs that the real-life Romeo and Juliet were here. Their heartwarming story is just what many of us needed. One of the best things about being a couple is having someone to share special moments with. This year was the first where Michele got to be part of Paola's birthday. They celebrated with a fruitcake and Paola's mom. The couple also planned an outdoor event at a restaurant, giving Michele the chance to meet some of Paola's friends. She's quite the social butterfly, so see him around her loved ones further bonded the new couple. Next, see what Paola and Michele's loved ones think about the new couple. We already mentioned that Michele had gotten to meet Paola's friends and family, but the same is true vice versa. By July, just 2 months after meeting in person, Paola and Michele had met all of one another's closest loved ones. Based on the pictures Paola shared on social media and their responses, we can deduce that all loved ones approve of the couple. They've only added to one another's support system, which further proves that they're great for one another. Ever since May, many of Italy's businesses have reopened. According to Condé Nast Traveler, Italy completely reopened internally on June 3, 2020. That means that Michele and Paola were able to expand their date range just in time for summer. You can tell from their photos that the pair has a ton of fun together. Here they are striking a cute pose on a pirate ship at a water park. You know you've found the one when you can play like kids together. The couple loves spending time in the water, especially during the warm months of summer. They often take pictures together on boats, doing water sports like paddleboarding or just relaxing on floats. Many songs are about that summertime love. Michele and Paola's relationship is not only like a movie, but also like a song. Although many of those lyrics are about pairs that break up in the fall, so far it looks like this love is going to be a lasting one. Next, the couple has big plans for the near future. Speaking of a lasting love, Paola and Michele already have plans to get married. Though they want to take it slow, this post on Paola's Facebook made it pretty clear that their plans are set in stone. She did say in an interview, "Marriage is an important thing and you must never rush it." At the same time, Michele has already told Paola that he wants to marry her, so it really just comes down to semantics. As soon as Michele hung up that sheet that read Paola from the top of his building, local news stations started taking notice of their relationship. Ever since, major outlets like the Washington Post and Yahoo have been following their story closely. The popularity has to do with how strikingly similar their story is to Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. Both saw one another from afar in Verona and fell madly in love. Plus, the balcony detail is very old-timey romantic. Fortunately, the story has a happy ending. One major difference between Michele and Paola's story and Romeo and Juliet is that their families are far from being in a feud. On the contrary, Paola sees Michele as being sent to her from her great-grandfather. She said in an interview, "Many times I think it was he who sent me Michele, with the same name, the same kindness, the same sympathy and intelligence." When the couple does tie the knot, they hope to do it on, you guessed it, a balcony. Did you like the story? Check out our channel for more.